As it gets later in the season, the windows to make it south are fewer and far between. Our 2-day sail to England was packed with some highs.
We have a new guest on board.
And some lows. Welcome to Sailingjibsea. 2 years ago, we knew nothing about sailing, but took off from Canada with an urge for adventure. I'm Steph. This is Travis, and this is our home, Jibsea. We moved quickly, and in a short time, have made it down south and even crossed an ocean. But we still have a whole lot more of the world to see. Subscribe and join our life on the water.
Hey guys, welcome back. We just left Bangor early this morning. And where are we heading?
We are heading to England.
We've been waiting up here for like a week or so, just so we can get some northerly-ish winds, some northwest winds. There's been a lot of southerly winds. So to get down south right now, it's a little harder. So we decided to do a 2-day sail, just because we had the winds with us and the currents where it matters should allow us to go through.
Hopefully it all lines up. Our goal is to try to go all the way from Northern Ireland down to the southwestern point of England, all in one sail. But if we don't make it to our first waypoint by a certain time, then we may have to tuck in there for the night and wait, just so that we're not against the current. Should take us about 55 hours-ish, approximately.
Yep. We have a couple jump-off anchorages just in case. Our first sort of area, if we don't make our time frame, we'll be pulling into Wales. If we don't make it there by noon tomorrow, we'll jump in there, and then we're just gonna have to wait for the next. We're going through kind of a cut right now. We'll be jumping off there and waiting for the next window to take us down. But if we're there by noon or earlier, we're just gonna keep on going right to the next point across the Bristol Sea area, Bristol Channel. We just switched to wing on wing. We're going right against a 1.5 knot current, so we're going pretty slow, going like 4 knots. Oh, raindrop. Going like 4 knots, but we're making ground. Making way now. It's a little wibbly wobbly, but it's a lot more comfortable, I think. Steph's gonna have a shower. I'm gonna try to figure out what I'm gonna eat for dinner and just keep going.
It's just after 3 a.m. and we had to take the pole down because the wind started to clock. It started raining a bit. And we haven't really been able to make sense of the speed that we've been doing for the last little while because we've been absolutely flying, but the winds aren't very strong. Our speed through the water is actually slower than the apparent wind speed. And then we have an added cherry on top. We have like a 4-knot current just pushing us because we're hitting 10 to 10.5 knots. Which is a good thing because we'll definitely make our mark near Wales before noon, which is what we had hoped for. We'll be there in like 4 hours if we continue at this rate. And even if we slow down significantly, we'll still make our mark. So it's looking good. We're just flying through, a little wet, but it's comfortable, so all is good.
That's our speed through the water. And that's our speed over ground.
Last night was actually pretty comfortable. It's actually really comfortable. But then woke up 6 o'clock this morning to pretty aggressive conditions. Now 18 to 20 plus knots of wind, and it's coming from a close reach. So just ahead of the beam, and the waves are pretty decent, and we're against a knot and a half of current, maybe 2 knots. So it's making the sea state even worse. Winds that I'm expecting now are 10 hours early, which makes me a little concerned. The winds after that, they just die out. So we wouldn't make it to our destination without having a motor a whole lot. So we're gonna try to squeeze closer to the shore here, kind of aiming for our checkoff point if things didn't work out, which is Wales. This guy's making it quite hard for me. On the course I was a few minutes ago, I was going to slowly kind of drift into him. So I had to pass him to his aft. And now I got to come back up and fight back into the wind, which is not the easiest in these conditions, because I don't want to get trapped in the coast over here where it goes to some shallows and some rocks, and I'm trying to go around it. But today is hard to tack into this. It's 60 degrees, 20 plus knots. Not fun. Yeah.
That one was freaking big.
No, this is shit. I can't even capture this. It's insane.
You need to push.
Shit. Uh-oh. That's letting now. Yeah, this is terrifying. We're in some serious current over waves, over wind, over not comfortable or fun. Just want to be anchored, eh?
How are the birds swimming?
Alright guys, as you probably would have anticipated, we decided to pull over. We got our asses handed to on that passage. The winds switched, so they're more on the nose, and we just didn't feel like putting the other 24 hours in, beating into it and that kind of stuff. So that was to say the least. So yeah, we just pulled in Wales, off the southern west tip of it, somewhere by Milford area. We're gonna wait for a better weather window to head around. That wasn't fun, eh?
No, that was not fun.
I got a little angry. We're just getting our asses handed to us.
And you're like, should we keep going? I was like, you're already pissed off. Cockpit's already wet, tired, hungry. Why don't we just pull in if we can? So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Just didn't make sense to keep going.
Didn't make sense. But we don't have to, you know, push
Not
it
a rush.
if we don't need to, so we're not. Lunchtime now. It's like 3 o'clock, and just gonna have some food. Steph's gonna make me a bacon egg sandwich. I love that. And just gonna relax the rest of the day and probably have a nap. Not much sleep went on through the last 24 hours. 48 hours or 38 hours, whatever. Anyways.
We're anchored outside of a small village called Dale, which is located in Pembrokeshire County in the southwest of Wales. About 200 people live in Dale, and because of its sheltered location, it's considered the sunniest place in Wales. You'll find ice cream, several restaurants, and pubs all along the shore. Water sports are also popular here, as well as walks along the coast path.
A nice few days to relax, and now that we're kind of refreshed, we've waited for a better weather window. We are going to be making our way out and continuing where we were heading. We're trying to get to the southwestern point, Penzance, by 7 or 8 p.m., which is about 18 hours from our departure time, because we want to meet the current switch at that point to help us round the point and continue east. We just did a quick walk this morning, checked out the sea state on the other side of the bay, and it looks like it's pretty calm. So we should have a better sail than we would have had we have continued on the first day. We have a new guest on board.
No. Here. Rest.
Aww. Okay, yeah, he's kind of cute.
Yeah, okay. Just rest.
He's so tired. He just wanted to come in.
Here, hold that. I'm gonna get the towel so they can rest. I seen them flying around the boat. We're maybe 30 or 40 miles offshore. And these little, like, land birds, they get sometimes lost out at sea. And when they see a boat, they want to rest. But he came around and did a bunch of circles around the boat.
Now that he kept trying to come in for a landing, and then he'd hone in, he'd fly back out and he'd miss. And then he'd come in, but the boat was moving and our enclosure was closed. But as soon as the curtain rolled up, in he came.
So our little buddy's just chilling up here in the Bimini. But I don't know what to do. Where he has to fly towards is exactly where, 20 knots of wind is coming from, so I don't think he'd make it throughout the night if he left our cockpit. But he's probably also not too comfortable in here, not knowing what's happening. But there's a barge that's passing us a couple miles, well, a mile up our port side. Wonder if I shoo him out now, he'll know to go over to that barge and land on it, and then that barge will take him maybe where he needs to go. Barge, I mean freighter, big old tanker ship. If he lands on that thing, there's no one around. He'd probably just be very stable and fine. Then in our rolly boat, I don't know what to do. I don't want to trap him in here and him be, you know, stressed out all night. He might not make it, but if I let him go, he might not make it either. Well, it's getting darker, and the freighter ship's got lights, so I imagine that little guy could see the lights and think it's land and fly towards it. Maybe I'll let him out. What do you want to do, man? See? You want to hang here? Or do you want to catch the barge? Over there. Right over there. Oh. Okay. There you go. Fine right there. The barge is that way. Ugh. So we just made it to the bottom of the UK. Well, we're a couple hours ahead of schedule, which kind of sucks because we've been against the current for the last 3 hours, trying to make it away around the corner here. But it should flip in another hour, and then we should be flying around.
So originally we wanted to time it so that we would meet this point where the current switches. The sea state's a little bit bigger, but we're flying and it's not bad.
We're getting to the lee of the island almost, which means the waves will be a lot less, and then that means coffee time. We're just rounding Land's End. There's a cool little lighthouse on these scattered rocks off the end of it. Looks pretty neat. Had to turn the motor on just because once we wrapped that corner and started heading up towards Penzance, where this really cool castle is, we're into 30 knots of wind, so I obviously can't and do not want to sail into 30 knots of wind. So we're motoring at 3.5, 4 knots, just making our way up. Should be there in about an hour and a half maybe. And then we got to make some water because we just ran out. I thought we filled up the other day, but I guess not. So make some water, check this castle out, rest, and then we're gonna keep moving onwards.
Well, we made it to England, though it took us a little longer than initially planned. Another fabulous anchorage that we'll start exploring along with more of England's south coast in next week's episode. So stay tuned, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Friday.